Hi, I'm Roger Montgomery and welcome to this week's Video Insight. Listen to three of the big four banks and they'll each give you a very different prediction about what interest rates will do in the next few months or quarters. Now, they're in the business of administering interest rates to customers or from customers, and even they can't reach a consensus. Shayne Elliott from the ANZ believes high levels of immigration are adding growth pressures. The ANZ CEO says Australia must prepare for higher for longer interest rates, with baked-in government spending pressures from infrastructure, housing and the climate transition set to make inflation sticky. He thinks there could be another official rate hike early in 2024. But speak to these CBA or NAB bosses and an entirely different prediction emerges. Only a week or so ago, National Australia Bank CEO McEwan said the RBA had probably lifted rates enough for this cycle, while the Commonwealth Bank thinks an official rate cut is on the agenda sometime next year. Of course, all this matters for those households in Australia who have a mortgage, and of course, stock market investors care very much about what interest rates will do because they impact the multiples of earnings, sales and book values investors are willing to pay for shares. Any sign that interest rates might start to head down again and the compression in price to earnings ratios we saw in 22, for example, could reverse, boosting stock market returns even if corporate earnings don't expand materially. One group of investors who might be less concerned with recent interest rate moves on part of their portfolio are those investors in the Aura High Yield SME Fund, available to wholesale and sophisticated investors only. Have a look at this chart. The RBA's official cash rate is marked in black. You can see from August 2017 through to May 2019, the RBA cash rate was stable at 1.5%. From June 2019, however, rates started to decline, and by November 2020, they sat at just 0.1%. And there they remained until May 2022. Now, in that 57-month period between August 2017 and May 2022, the annualised rate of return for investors in the Aura High Yield SME Fund for wholesale and sophisticated investors varied between 11.75% and 7.44% per annum. Importantly, past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance, and returns and distributions aren't guaranteed. In May 22, the RBA official cash rates started their highly publicised increase and arguably caused consternation for investors in almost every asset class. Once again though, investors in some private credit funds, including those wholesale and sophisticated investors in the Aura High Yield SME Fund, experienced improving annualised returns as the RBA raised rates. Annualised rates of return for the Aura High Yield SME Fund climbed from 7.44% per annum in May 22 to 10.16% per annum in July 23 and 9.64% per annum in October 23. Because rates charged to borrowers are floating, and because the average term on 51% of the 11,764 loans in the portfolio at the 31st of October 23 was less than 3 months, investors have experienced rising returns as the RBA cash rate has risen. Once again, past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance, and returns and distributions aren't guaranteed. Investors should always seek and take professional, personal advice. I hope we've been able to show that despite all the press to the contrary, some Australian investors are finding benefits that have accrued from the recent increases in the RBA's official cash rates. I hope you can see that not all investors are treated equally when the RBA raises rates. And while we don't know whether the RBA will raise rates, keep rates on hold or cut rates next year, and neither do the big banks, what we do know is that private credit offers uncorrelated returns. That's all we've got time for today. I look forward to seeing you again next week, and in the meantime, continue to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.